The Swiss psychiatrist and psychologist Carl Jung believed that to live a psychologically healthy life, we need to be in contact with these symbols that are emerging from our inner life. So in this video, we're going to talk more about what these symbols exactly are, why they're so important, and how we can stay in connection with them. So a symbol is essentially a carrier of psychic energy. So it makes visible through an image something that's emotional and often also spiritual or numinous in nature. So, for example, you might see a dream where you're walking in a dark forest in the night and you see an owl. So there already you have a lot of different symbols: darkness, night, owl, and forest. So I work with people examining their inner symbols, not only through their dreams, but mainly through images that we make, for example, through drawing or painting or collage. And so when we surrender this kind of a process of making these images, that's a process which is unplanned and intuitive and spontaneous, then these inner symbols start to become infused in these images and in this creative process as well. And if you're interested in how this process works in a very concrete, hands-on way, I actually have a video called How to Uncover Your Inner Symbols, where you can try this process out for yourself. So the thing about symbols is that they remain partly unknown, and that's the nature of a symbol. Jung even said that a symbol is an announcement of something unknown. So if we were able to know exactly what a symbol means, then it would actually stop being a symbol and it would become a sign. So, for example, the example that I use a lot is that if you were to see a cross on a map, then you would know that in that location there is a church. But if you see that same cross inside of the church, then you wouldn't really be able to pinpoint the meaning of it into any definitive thing, because that cross can mean a lot of different things to a lot of different people. So on the map, the cross would be a sign, and inside of the church, the cross would be a symbol. And Jung said also that a sign is always less than a thing that it points to, and a symbol is always more than we can understand at first sight. So this differentiation between a symbol and a sign, it's good to know and good to keep in mind, because it helps to understand this certain kind of an attitude that we have when we're examining the imagery that appears in our dreams or through our art. So when I work with people and we're examining this imagery, we are not really trying to decode the elements of them by trying to think of them as signs, but by trying to see them as symbols. And Jung said that whether a thing is a symbol or not depends chiefly upon the attitude of the observing consciousness. So to look at our dreams and images with a symbolic mindset is to look at them with this attitude of not knowing. And our psyche is constantly producing this stream of symbolic images, and usually we just notice them in our dreams because our consciousness is naturally lowered when we are sleeping. But actually this stream of symbols doesn't stop in our waking life, so it just goes more unnoticed by our ego, so by our consciousness. But these symbols actually have an effect on our life, even if, or actually especially if, we don't consciously pay attention or connect with them. So this is the reason that why it's so important to have some kind of a creative practice, because in our dreams we're more just like passively viewing what's happening in the dream. But when we engage in things like, for example, painting or drawing, we are able to connect with that symbolic realm in a more conscious way. So we become more active in a sense that we can build an active relationship or dialogue with those images and that symbolic realm that is behind them. But that's not really to say that we can produce symbols. We can't really manufacture them ourselves. It's more that we discover them. But there has to be a certain kind of a space that is constellated for that discovery to happen. And in our art making, we are constellating a conscious space for that process. And on the other hand, if we're not connecting with these images or these symbols, or if we just kind of disregard our dreams, or we start viewing the world as just being a series of signs rather than symbols, then what happens is that these symbols start to live unconsciously within us, and they start to be projected into the outside world. So we start to live them in ways that are unconscious, for example, through different kinds of obsessions or addictions, or in situations that are overtaken or we're overwhelmed by a strong emotion. And when the symbols are lived in an unconscious way, it usually brings about a lot of pain and guilt and shame. But when we're working with them in a conscious way, then we're allowing these symbols and the energy of those symbols to be transformed. And it's kind of like freeing ourselves from this pressure of unconscious contents. So instead of the symbol being carried out through pain, it becomes an image that carries meaning. And Jung said, and he believed, that behind every symptom, there is always an image that carries meaning. And I think that especially in this time that we're living, where we're bombarded with images from the outside, online and social media, and we're bombarded with images that don't really have a connection to our deepest inner selves, then in this time, it really becomes even more crucial and even more important to be in a space where we can discover the symbolic realm of ourselves. And I think that another reason why it's so important in this time to be in connection with that symbolic realm is because it connects us to this mystery of life, which I feel like, because we are living in such world where this scientific worldview is so dominant, it makes it so that this mystery of life has been stripped away almost completely. But I think we have all experienced this numinosity and strong emotion that comes when we see, for example, a stream that is so strong that we remember it for the rest of our lives. So that is the huge power and impact that symbols can have in our lives. And to be in connection with them is to be in connection with the mystery and the wisdom of the unconscious that is inherent in all of us. So thanks for watching this video. I hope you got some insight out of it. And let me know in the comments, what are your thoughts? What symbols are present in your life currently, and how are you staying in connection with them?